I don't want it to be over yet. What's up, guys? It's finally here. The finale for Fairy Tail, period. And we're going to talk a lot about not so much the bad, but what I think was good. We will talk a bit about the bad, but let's just get right into it. If I seem a little down, I'm just coming to grips with the fact that a show I've been watching for 9 years is over, and I kind of don't want it to be. And I know everybody said that the 100-Year Quest is a manga that is out that I can read. And I'm probably going to read that, but I think I'm going to take a bit of a break from Fairy Tail and just kind of let it set for a little while that the show is over. So getting right into the start of the episode, of course, we pick up where we left off at the very beginning with no intro, opening, or anything. We get right into the fact that they've trapped Acnologia's physical form with Fairy Sphere. And I was saying the other day in the other review I did that I felt like Fairy Sphere capturing the physical form of Acnologia may have an effect on his ethereal form. And it did. It actually kept him from being able to move, which made it easier for Natsu to take him out One Punch Man style. Actually, it's funny because the attack that Natsu used made a giant fist out of fire, and it was very, very One Piece reminiscent in a way. It reminded me of like the giant fist attacks they use in One Piece, which is funny because I remember when I first started reading the Fairy Tail manga and watching Fairy Tail at the very beginning, I remember thinking that, at least in the manga, the art style reminded me a lot of One Piece. And it's kind of funny that the last big baddie that they face in the entire series is taken out with what looks like a One Piece punch with a giant fist. And, I mean, the last fight was not exactly the most satisfying thing. I'm not afraid to say that. I was actually kind of surprised that they did it as slowly as they did over the past few episodes. I was expecting it to be a lot quicker, because I was kind of wondering if they were going to do what they ended up doing, which was just wrapping it up with one last big hurrah at the beginning of the last episode, and then use the rest of this episode for a send-off. And that's exactly what they did. They took out Acnologia in the very beginning before the opening credits even played, and then used the rest of this episode as a send-off. And the fight was lackluster, and the resolution was as expected. I was kind of not surprised that they took him out. And of course, I said in one of my other reviews that there's probably going to be a moment where they go to defeat Acnologia, and only then does he realize his mistakes or something. And sure enough, at the very end, as he's shattering, he realizes, Natsu tells him, don't be greedy, you can't have everything, and that made him realize that the errors of his ways as he shatters, and we see the little like glints in his eyes that we've never seen in Acnologia's eyes, and then he shatters, and so does his physical form also shatters within Fairy Sphere. But the theming, whether or not Hiro Mashima was writing this last chapter, this last arc by the seat of his pants or not, the theming entirely in this show has never ever changed. And that is something that I can respect, and that is something that I've always loved about this show, is that the theming has never changed. Natsu, while he has become more sympathetic and kinder and more thoughtful in the time that we've spent with him as a character, he is still rooted to his friends. He is a friend-oriented, loyal guild member, and it's awesome. And that friendship, of course, at the end of the day, is what defeats Acnologia at the very beginning of the episode. And with Acnologia gone, the battle is over. That's it. Like, there is no more conflict for the Fairy Tail members, or anybody, really. We've got Sabretooth, Lamius Scale, Mermaid Heel, everybody's celebrating, and I want to know who dropped the confetti, like who was waiting in a war-torn city with confetti cannons to drop confetti when everybody was celebrating. But maybe I'll just chalk it up to somebody had that magic ability to create that, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And with everybody celebrating, the sky cracks one last time to drop all of the Dragon Slayers back into Hargion for some reason, because I don't think they vanished from Hargion. I think they vanished from Magnolia. Whatever, plot convenience, they all drop in Hargion. And that's the end of the war. That's the end of the battle, the end of an era, and we skip an entire year once we get past the opening. And yes, I now see the opening is not an opening that is new, it's just a recap opening for everything, so I should probably have not done an entire reaction to just that, because seeing it in this, it makes more sense in context, because it is the last episode, so I get it. And people make mistakes, I guess. Sorry. It's just a part of the final episode send-off. Of course, all the Dragon Slayers reunite, and it's actually really cool because I had mentioned a while back with Cobra how his, snake waifu hasn't been around, and we see her in the very end actually, like, they see each other. It was really, really cool. Now, as y'all could probably piece together, I am a massive fan of theming, hence why the friendship theming in Fairy Tail has never really bothered me, because it's a consistent theme, or why theming in openings, or just themes in general that stick with characters is something that I am a huge fan of. And in this, the theming has never changed, but the whole theme of this one episode is the send-off for these characters. And say what you want about Hiromashima, while he does have a problem killing off characters who are, Fairy Tail members, while he has a problem killing off main characters, his ability to write send-offs for these characters has never changed. It's always been good. His ability to write send-offs is awesome, and this entire latter portion of the episode after the opening just puts that on display, and I could not be happier with it. Because right after we have the main opening, we get into a year gap. We jump a year to Lucy getting an award for the book she's been writing this entire series. And it's a book based on her own experiences, and she wins an award for it. And I'm not going to lie, when they're showing this moment and they're playing Fairy Tail's first opening in the background, I teared up a bit. I loved it. I'm not gonna, I'm not made of stone. I have been watching this show for so long and seeing all these things, knowing that it's the conclusion, and seeing the last moments we have with the characters in this anime, and hearing the original opening that got us into it from the start it was not something I could not cry at. I mean, come on, guys. I'm not made of stone. And we just have this awesome moment with all these characters celebrating with Lucy, because, you hear people talking about, like, oh, well, that makes sense why she is able to write a book this way from her experience, because she is a member of the famous Fairy Tail Guild. That would also explain her friends. And, of course, we have Grace stripping, we have Natsu eating. It was just, it was great. Because again, with consistent theming, we know we've had so much time with these characters, and we know how they act, and we know what to expect. And with this, we get exactly what we'd expect out of these characters, which is, while enjoying something that is for someone else, they make a mess of the entire thing. And that's just how Fairy Tail is, and it's the way they've been from the start. They've been a rambunctious, reckless group, and it's, oh man, just seeing that again was awesome. And just this whole ending is so bittersweet, because we see these things that we just know are continued themes. We've gotten so used to these characters. We know these characters so well, and we've spent so much time with them, that seeing them and knowing that this is the last time we'll see them in the main Fairy Tail show is just so bittersweet. Because we have them acting the way they have since the start, and we as the viewers can tie in with that and relate, because we've watched these, and a lot of us, I mean, in 9 years we've kind of grown up with these characters in a way, and it's so bittersweet to watch. A couple things here and there that they did tie in together. We still have Anna in this time frame, in this era, and she's a teacher now, and of course Lucy can go visit her ancestor, which is kind of cool. And that's kind of a neat thing. And we have things like couples being formed, or at least being hinted at, which I think is probably one of my favorite moments because, well, my favorite sort of vanilla ship in this entire show has been Gajiel and Levy. And there was a mention of a baby, perhaps, which I think is kind of interesting and cool and sails my ship, which I'm very happy about. Because I like the fact that Lucy thinks she hears something, and she's like, maybe that was just my imagination. And then we have Wendy. Oh, man, that was great. And of course, speaking of Wendy, we have her still going and visiting Lamia Scale and doing the Fairy Sisters, or Sky Sisters concert. And Shelia is learning magic again, even though I thought that she couldn't use magic again. Apparently she's had enough magic power or whatever to start learning it again. So maybe at some point she will be that powerful again. I don't know. We'll see. Sabretooth, of course, is Sabretooth with their food eating contest. And of course Minerva is the winner, period, every time. Or Sting and Rogue. And each year one most handsome man. Is anyone really surprised by that? I mean, really, come on. Is anybody surprised? That had to be something written in. Man. Mermaid Heel became models, so that's something. Gray and Juvia might have something going on now, which is kind of nice. It's not just a one-way thing with Juvia. And that's something I've been kind of thinking is probably just going to happen. Because Gray even said he will give her his answer after the battle. And he still really hasn't, but I think in the way that he was saying that he might be into her in that way, pretty much answers it, so there you go. And again, Wendy heard that one, but I'm also pretty sure that Lucy did as well. Poor Wendy. She's too precious for this world. And then, of course, we have Elfman and Ever, which, I mean, like, they go through so many ships, because we got Elfman and Ever, we've also got... Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. We have Loxus. I take that back, I meant to laugh. We've got Loxus, and Lucy's like, Loxus and Mira, Loxus and Kana, and then it comes to Freed just being such a possessive guy with Loxus, and I love it. It's just so funny to me, like, his over-the-top, like, subdued character that immediately becomes this, like, outgoing sort of character when he's around Loxus. Like, I love that about Freed. And just, they go over so many things that are, like, just wrapping up with the series. Like, we have the king retiring and his daughter taking over, so now Hisui's running the kingdom, and he's carving pumpkins. And she actually pardoned Crime Sorcière, which is awesome. And we were kind of given hints about Urza's relationship with Jalal, and this I find pretty fitting for Urza as a character, where she isn't super openly emotional a lot of times, unless she's pushed to her limits or she's around people who she knows she can be that way with. But when they got their pardon and she knew that Jalal was free, she started prettying up her hair every day, which is just a subtle thing to be prepared to meet Jalal, which I think is really, really kind of sweet. And Cobra and his snake waifu, whose name I can't remember, they got together, which is awesome. Gramps is still alive, even though really I think he had a perfect send-off. Again, Hiro Mashima is great at writing send-offs. He is awful at actually killing characters. But, I mean, I can't complain. This send-off episode was awesome. And we have a moment that I guess is the reincarnation of Zeref and Mavis, or just people who look like Zeref and Mavis, to sort of make the characters feel better about the passing of Mavis, the first master. But, yeah, these two are apparently both aspiring writers and journalists, and they get together and start talking and presumably have a much happier relationship than the one between Zeref and Mavis. So that was kind of nice, and of course they share pretty much all the same traits, like Mavis, or the reincarnation of Mavis, forgot her shoes, though Zeref, the reincarnation of Zeref, smiled and was laughing, and it was just cool. And at the later point in the episode, Gajiel and Levy vanished, so that's, maybe that was what they were talking about when they were talking about babies. But one of the things immediately after this celebration montage that I love is I have complained for certain episodes that they don't have enough self-awareness. They don't have this level of self-awareness, like, nobody can defeat me. And it's like, have you ever watched the show? Come on. Like, you at least should be self-aware enough to write that in. But what they did do was have Lucy wake up back in her house, back in her apartment, and she said, please don't let this be an "it was all a dream" cliche, which I loved that. That was awesome. I love the fact they just straight up called out, like, please don't tell me this was all just a dream. Like, that shows that there's still some clever writing that could be done in fairy tale. It's just the battles and the fights just aren't... you know what? Like, the send-off for this episode, I'm just going to keep going into that because that was awesome. I loved the send-off they gave this episode because it was so worth it, so well done, so well deserved. It's just everything leading up to it wasn't that great. But anyway, Lucy drank too much and Natsu had to carry her back, change her into her clothes, and she like almost cuddled Happy to death and all that stuff. And it was just kind of funny that was what happened after the whole ceremony with Lucy. And we get back to just what has happened episode over episode, season over season, which is they show up in Lucy's apartment. She wants them out. She's like, what are you doing here? It's just what it's been, and it's back to the way it was. But in this, when Natsu says, let's go on a job, we get flashes of all the memories, all the stories, everything that we've experienced over the past 9 years of this show. And we have the moment of Lucy breaking down, and part of me almost feels like that was actually the voice actress crying in a way, but I don't know, because it was one of the more emotional performances, and it was just so beautifully done. And I love that about this show, and it was just so awesome. And Natsu presumably was about to say something very important to Lucy, and then he says never mind while she's like in tears losing it, and then just like drags her out. And he was saying that they got a job, and she's like, let me pack, blah blah blah, I gotta do this and that, blah blah blah. He's like, oh, we already packed for you, let's go. And they were approved for the 100-year quest, and they'll be together forever, he said, because they'll always be together. And oh man, I'm not going to cry for a review. I've cried in reactions. I'm not going to cry for a review. But we get into the final scene of them leaving for the 100-year quest, and I love it because the final still image they show looks straight out of like an early chapter of the manga. Lucy's actually dressed the way that she was in the very first season, which we haven't seen in quite a while, at least not in the anime itself. And they end with what started the guild, which is, do fairies have tails? Do fairies exist at all? It can be a never-ending quest because nobody may ever know the answer. And I'm sad that it's over. I feel like by doing this review, I'm kind of like admitting that the show's done. And it is, I've just, for everything that I've really been irritated by with each of these episodes, to have a show that was, stereotypical in a lot of ways, but so well done in so many other ways, and so consistent with its theming and overall characters, and just the sheer level of commitment it takes to watch the show, number one, but also the sheer level of consistency, for better or for worse, just makes the show so relatable and something that's easy to attach to. And I'm kind of sad that it's over, and I'm going to take a break from it, but I'm probably going to go back and watch the show over again. And I know for certain that I am going to be reading the 100-Year Quest and probably doing some reviews on it. But overall, I'm so sad that it's over. I don't want it to be over. But it is. This is the end of Fairy Tail, a show that I've committed 9 years to watching, I've invested in, and the adventure of the main show's over. And it's been an adventure for the viewer, it's been an adventure for the characters, and even if this last arc wasn't that great, I feel like this show has made an impression on me. And it's probably made an impression on a lot of people, because it's something that I got into early on when I started getting back into anime, and it's been something that I've been able to consistently watch throughout. Most of the shows that got me into anime are over now, and this was one of the last big ones that still stood, and now it's over too. And I'm kind of sad by that. But one of the good things is I did say that when this series was over, if I was past 30,000 subscribers, which we passed quite a while ago, I would get a fairy tale tattoo. And I'm going to. I'm going to get a fairy tale tattoo. My plan is to start a sleeve on my arm of shows that had a major impact on me. Shows like Steins Gate, Seven Deadly Sins, Soul Eater, Fairy Tale. And with Fairy Tale being the start of this incredible adventure through this show and an incredible adventure in anime that started one of the main shows that started me on YouTube as a YouTube reactor and has carried me this far, is going to start the sleeve of this ongoing adventure. And I'm so thankful that you guys have stuck with my channel through the Fairy Tale reactions, the strikes caused by Fairy Tale reactions, the switching to the Fairy Tale reviews, the movies, and now to the final episode. Thank you guys so much for sticking through this, and I appreciate you guys for this. And I'm going to go on vacation now and take some time to clear my head, but I've enjoyed every minute of watching this show, and I hope you guys have as well. It's a longer episode, but I know that it would be because it's going to be a long review for the final show. And I thank you guys, and I'll see you all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe and all that, I guess, and I'll see you in the next show we watch, because Fairy Tale is over. Make sure to be there and have a good one. Hey guys, just hopping in at the end here. Thanks for watching through the whole video. I hope you enjoyed it. I do still have merch. I've actually had it for quite a while, but not a lot of people know about it or care. And so if you guys want to support me or check it out just because it looks cool, go to the link in the description. You can see some of the designs I have, like the Steel Frodo in Steins Gate design, or even the Mob Psycho 100 design, and maybe even buy one if you like it, or don't. I cried myself to sleep at night anyway. So either way, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.